Hey, what's going on, Wealthy Legacy Journeyers? Welcome back to the Wealthy Legacy Journey. Today, we're going to be talking about when the pain of the journey is just overwhelming. And that's really been, I think, the place that Libby and I have been at. It feels like especially the last week, last few weeks, it's just been getting so heavy. As you guys know, the journey that we've been on has kind of hit this new season over the last a little over a year. Whenever we started to, we started to cut back all the expenses of life and really go, okay, we're going to build up a business for the third time around. What do we do wrong the first two times? And, the first two times we were trying to out earn our expenses. Now we're looking at it from how do we underspend our income and get our income as high as possible, get our expenses as low as possible. We're looking at our churn to burn ratio. Yesterday, Libby and I had a conversation of how do we get our churn to burn ratio to 2, where we are making twice what we need to live every month. A big part of that is getting those expenses down, just keeping them down. Um, but it's we're trying to build up, a cash flow in our income. We're trying to get our money working for us. We're trying to be dedicated and disciplined in everything that we're doing. For those of you who don't know, we also a few months ago sold our house now. We sold our house and we took the profits from that house, and a lot of them went to purchasing a fifth wheel, which we are now living in cash. And then we took the other portion and we invested it. And about half of our additional net worth, which is we have about another $40,000 or so of net worth, plus another 100 or so that's in another real estate deal. But half of that went into stocks, and then half of that is sitting in real estate, in small real estate deals. And so, really the question for us is which of those is going to take off first? And, one thing I didn't even put on there, we've took some blows over the last few weeks, on the stock market as we're just trying to learn. We entered into a very volatile market, and so that made it more difficult. We do have a coach and a mentor team coaching us through trading, and everybody took some massive losses. One of the coaches in the group actually lost $9 million over the last 2 weeks for some very volatile, unexpectedly crazy stuff. But he's like, I'm not even concerned because I'm going to make it back. And so it's just an interesting outlook, and it makes me not feel so bad about the few $1,000s that I lost, but still, ouch, right? Very painful. Um, so then oh, what was the other thing? I had something else I was going to say and I forgot. But yeah, doing the stocks. Oh, and then on the real estate side of things, we had somebody make us an offer. So we have this Palestine lot. We bought it for 13,000. It's worth 40,000 easy, but 20,000 an acre. It's 1.99 acres, so maybe just a tad less, maybe like 39,000 or so. And we had somebody make us an offer that's been looking at it for like a month, which was really exciting. Like, okay, now we're starting to get some momentum. They offered us $10,000 for this lot. And it's like, what? Like, there's no comps to support 10,000. And like, obviously, that's less than what I bought it for. And people send out dumb offers sometimes, or they're just trying to get a deal as like an investment or something like that. But it was just a little bit disheartening, when it's like, no, this is like my investment. I paid, you know, more than that. And I've seen that kind of stuff as an investor because my background is in real estate investing. Um, but this I'm trying to like run the my own show. But I even had my friend, look at this deal before I picked it up just to, kind of confirm what I was seeing. And, he would have bought the same deal. And um, so it was just kind of like, well, that's disappointing on the real estate front. It's just getting an offer that's not like in my mind when, my real estate agent said, oh, they're sending us a crappy offer. I thought, oh, like 50%, like we might have an offer like 20,000 and I might try to counter back at like 25, just get the deal off the books and then move on to the next deal. Whenever it came in at 10 grand, I was like, this is a joke. Like, why is somebody even sending me an offer 25% of our list price? And I just was like, what is this person even doing? And the agent said they've been looking at it pretty seriously for like a month. So it's just like, what's going on? Like, is this an agent that's not able to read the situation? Is this a buyer who has a buyer's agent that just, doesn't know how to run comps? Is this a buyer who's like trying to be an investor or just doesn't have any cash? Like, I don't understand, but the offer made no sense to me whatsoever. Um, so it was just disappointing to see an offer like that. I think that um there probably should have been more communication between the agents on that offer, just to like set up some expectations for what we're looking for. But yeah, it's just been interesting, in real estate. I've really tried to let go of control and let the real estate agent run that deal. And I'm just not 100% sure if I made the right choice in that or not. But, we have to make choices and then move forward, live with those choices that we've made. Um, and then on the stock market side, just trying to figure out like, are we going to be able to experience breakthrough? And so I read this verse this week. It was encouraging to me, as I kind of have a heart that's struggling to find hope in the situation. And it's Proverbs 16:9. Within your heart, you can make plans for your future, but the Lord chooses the steps you take to get there. And so, I think for Libby and I this last week, it's been a lot of reflection of, okay, we're just having to trust that this is a path, this is a journey, a sequence of steps that the Lord is wanting to take Libby and I through in order to grow us and mature us and teach us something special. But I can tell you, like from living in it, it feels terrible. It feels like I don't want to keep doing this. This is extremely painful. I've been living in a lot of pain because of the sacrifice and, giving up like the comforts and the niceties of life for over a year now. And, then to deploy that capital and not see that capital just boom, like instantly have a win. It's just like this whole thing is a joke. But I know it's not, because I even reflect back as I'm saying this to Myron Golden's money mindsets and thinking about how, the poor, they believe the primary purpose of money is to pay your bills. The middle class believe the primary purpose of money is to pay your bills on time so you can maintain good credit. Whereas the wealthy believe that the primary purpose of money is to make more money. And so I need to have a majority of my free money deployed making more money if I'm truly going to believe and, live out that wealthy money mindset. And I do believe it. And so, Libby and I were just having some hard conversations this week. And, one of the conversations was we just really got to figure out how to make our money work efficiently for us. Are we in the right vehicles to do that? Are we not in the right vehicles to do that? I don't really know for sure, but we're just looking at what are the ways that we can make money. And I think a lot of people are feeling this way right now because life has gotten so expensive. And so it's like what's crazy is over the last few years, as we've continued to, make more money, whether inside of our business or get raises or anything like that, we've been struggling to like actually improve our quality of life because of how fast everything is getting more expensive. And so that's just been a real difficulty, I think, for us as well to see our income go way up. But like what we're able to afford has not gone way up relative to the amount of income increase we've had over the last couple years. But we've also seen, Libby and I were talking about just a few years ago, we got married like 5 years ago, how, the first apartment that we rented was like $800 for a 2-1, and we were in a 1-1 for $600. And, now I think that that same apartment is going for over 2 grand on the 2 bedroom. And, I think it's over $1,000 for the 1 bedroom, like pretty healthily over $1,000. And so, I mean, when you look at that, it's like, wow. So, you're maybe it was not quite 2,000, but I mean, you're talking about probably over double the cost of rent on those same apartments, and then it's like, okay, so then just to keep up with that rate of inflation, we have to be making over double what we were making there. Plus, we have extra kiddos in tow and stuff like that. And so it's been interesting. But one of the hard conversations that Libby and I had this last week, which was a really, really tough conversation, was about the potentiality of Libby having to get a job. And really, it's just kind of around this idea of we have, moved into this trailer, and made a ton of sacrifices, but we have to be able to make those sacrifices worth it. And, we had started dipping a little bit, like edging our way a little bit more and more into my paycheck. And I finally just told Libby, I was like, hey, look, if we need to consume this extra money, like I get it. That's totally okay. But I told her, I was like, you're going to have to get a job. If we need more money to survive as a family, you're going to have to get a job in order for us to still have enough free cash flow to really make this thing worth it. Because we're starting to dance on the edge of not even having $1,000 a month. And so I think we're gonna be making some changes on that and push it back up to about $1,500 a month, which will be good. And so if we can keep the free cash flow up, you know, and we can get our money working for us, it's great steps in the right direction. But I still told Libby, I was like, we're still gonna have to, if we really want to start making this count for something big, either like you're going to have to produce income somehow. And so we're exploring different options of what that might be able to look like for producing some extra cash flow for the family. Um, but it's like we've got to create more fuel for the fire, and then we've got to figure out how to get that fire going. And my job is really how do you get that extra cash working for you, which is a heavy job because I still have my normal day job. And then every time, we have a setback or we lose money, it's like I just feel like it's a waste. And so it's like, how do I look at that not as a waste, but a lesson learned? But I'm struggling with that, especially right now because of the tension of the situation that we're in. You know, um, it would be a lot easier if we were in a really comfortable situation. This was just like extra money that could do anything with, but that's not the case. Like, this is money that we've made some huge sacrifices in order to get. And so then to turn around and lose those funds is a blow. So it's like, how can I make sure that those funds keep growing forward? We don't fall backwards on those. Um, how does Libby produce, some more cash so our family can, have more cash flow? How can we produce more cash flow, whether through our investments, whether through income, on my side, whether through income on Libby's side, how do we produce that cash flow that's going to be able to give us that financial freedom? Um, so yeah, I mean, right now Libby and I are just in a place of praying and begging for financial breakthrough, mental breakthrough, just trying to understand, where is it that we're at, where is it that we're going, what are we trying to achieve out of all of this, and how do we get there? And it's been really tough because my my job has hit another layer of complexity um, in the work environment, not in the job itself. There's just some factors inside of the work environment that are making it more difficult for me to do my job because of other people in the sphere of having to complete that task load. And I'm not going to go too into it, but that's created a whole nother challenge of, okay, I really don't enjoy my job, not very much at all, which is fine if we're actually making progress in some sort of specific direction. But in my mind, it was like if we're starting to cash flow less than $1,000 a month, and I'm struggling to in my free time make our extra money, like make more money, like something's got to break somewhere because we can't live in a fifth wheel while I work a job that I hate for the next decade plus just to not go anywhere. Like, we have to move a discernible direction with some pretty powerful force in order to make it worth continuing to sacrifice and go through the struggle that we're going through right now. So how do we figure that out? And I think a lot of you guys are probably going to be in the same situation at some point in your life. If you're in this circumstance and it's like, okay, this is painful and I'm willing to go through the pain of this situation that I'm in right now, but I'm only willing to go through this pain if I can see that we're actually moving in a definitive direction. Because if we're not moving in a certain direction, if I'm not experiencing wins in my life to help offset the difficulty that I'm going through, then it's like, okay, now I'm experiencing losses and I'm experiencing all this difficulty, and it starts to feel really not worth it really, really quickly. Um, And so I totally relate with you guys. In fact, we couldn't afford a family vacation this summer. And we did get to go on we got to go out of town. We went to one of Libby's aunts down in Central Texas, and we stayed with her for 2 days, and we spent less than $100 on that vacation, which was great on one hand. But honestly, after all of the difficulty that we've been feeling over the last few weeks, I didn't want to spend any money. I didn't feel like being on vacation. I didn't feel like talking to anybody. I just wanted to crawl into like my hole and be like, and it's just like, this has been so difficult. I don't want anybody to ask me like, oh, how has things been? How's the business going? How are the investments going? It's like, like right now, not great. And I just don't even want to talk about it. Um, and man, like this journey right now is feeling heavy. It's just like on my shoulders, bearing down on me. I'm just looking back at it going, is it gonna destroy me before I have a chance to conquer it? Um, and I know it won't be like the end of the world. Um, but mentally, emotionally, I'm feeling really crushed right now. At a really low point. And I'm trying to take the right steps forward. Um, but you know, I've been swinging at life for a long time now, um, for years, many years, and swinging at the same punching bag, trying to have a breakthrough. And I think all the responsibilities of life and parenting and everything like that, on top of trying to continue to swing at this punching bag, I found myself slowing down on the punches. And I feel like I've almost like had a few moments where I've just kind of stepped back and look at the punching bag and wonder if it's even worth continuing to swing, or if I should just walk away. Um, you know, I don't even know what that would look like, but I just don't know how much more umph I have in me. So, uh, which is, well, the legacy journey is a little over a year, but my journey is a little over, I think it's a little over 6 years. Uh, I basically started at the end of 2018, so 2019, 2020, 21, 22, 23. And so at the end, so basically November of 2024, this year, it'll be 6 years. Um, it's just it's a long road to try to pave. So, anyways, that's pretty much my update for this week. It's been brutal. It's been a mental battle to stay in there, to not give up. Um, when you feel like you're making all the right choices, but those choices aren't panning out the way that you thought that they would, it makes it really hard to continue just moving forward in what almost feels like blind faith. Um, but I don't know. Living in a fifth wheel has been tough. Uh, I would, I don't, I even looking back, I would do it all again because it had to be done, but I wish I didn't have to. Um, yeah, I'm just trying to keep a positive attitude about all the decisions we've made over the last, you know, several years. The things we've tried, the things that we've done as we've tried to create breakthrough, and just trying to keep a positive attitude about it. Um, and I don't know. I guess going back to the verse, that in my hearts I made a plan for my future, but just realizing that the Lord chooses the steps that you take to get there, and he will guide my steps. So he'll guide your steps too. Um, Even though I don't really feel like doing it, we should probably close with the Wealthy Legacy Journey mantra. I explore the unknown. I conquer new frontiers. My journey is powerful, and my wake is a wealthy legacy. Um, so I've definitely explored the unknown. Conquering new frontiers, conquering might be a strong word on some of those frontiers, but hey, I'm there and taking steps forward and trying to figure it out. So, with that said, guys, it was good hanging out with y'all on today's episode, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye, everybody.